Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and on today's episode, we're taking a trip back to the past. And no, this isn't the Angry Video Game Nerd. No, quite the opposite. I don't know when the last time I've actually ever covered a game here, so definitely no AVGN stuff happening here. But today, we're going back to my childhood, but specifically a toy I never had as a kid. But thanks to Playmates, they've brought it back and then some. Because today, we're taking a look at Playmates Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles giant-sized action figures. And man, these things, they live up to their namesake. Originally released way back in 1989, I never had the Giant Turtles as a kid. Now, I had most of the original TMNT figures, but for whatever reason, never had these big guys here, and they've always been something I've been on the lookout for. And I've seen them plenty of times, but never complete, or usually in terrible condition, or quite often a little bit more money than I want to pay for. But Playmates for the last few years has been really pushing out a lot of re-released TMNT figures, and thankfully they finally went back to the well to dig out the 12-inch Giant Turtles. Cannot wait to take a close look at this guy here, because man, this has been a long time coming. So Playmates, as I mentioned, has been re-releasing a whole load of Ninja Turtles over the last few years, including the original series. They're now doing some of the other lines as well, including the storage shells. They're doing the pizza launchers. A bunch of characters we'll be talking about on this channel sooner than later. But for me, this right here has been what I've been waiting for. I've been hoping that they would do, because there are so many great Ninja Turtle figures out there, but to me, this is a very iconic figure. And I think even the packaging is pretty much the same as what it was back in the day, or at least close to it. I don't quite remember for a fact what it actually looked like. It might have actually been in a proper box. I don't know. But either way, the packaging that they're doing these days, I do kind of like it. And I do want to mention, by the way, thank you to collectors and also to, I guess, the scalpers out there too in this case. In a lot of instances in the last few years, we've seen figures that are like basically out here in the open and exposed, missing their heads. And I'm very excited to say that I have not seen too many of these, if not any of these, missing their heads out in Targets. So to whoever is out there that's been a jerk and doing things like that, thanks for not tearing off these guys' heads and putting them up on eBay. And if you are one of the culprits who has been decapitating these figures and putting their heads on eBay, I've got some choice words for you that are going to get me demonetized, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. But again, the packaging is beautiful. I love seeing the character out in the open like this. I especially enjoy the retro artwork that we get on the packaging here. It's basically the exact same style of artwork we would have seen back in the day, with the Eastman and Laird inspired caricatures of these guys. The font is the cartoon font. Everything about this is awesome. Really, the only thing that separates it is that you have the modern Playmates logo and the Nickelodeon logo occasionally plastered on it. The package does let you know this is an original 1989 figure that has been re-released. Again, you can see that Nickelodeon logo right up there, so that anybody who is a Mint-On card collector will not get taken for a ride. And the back of the box, fairly close, I would imagine, to what the original was like. We have a little tiny comic strip that explains the origins of the Ninja Turtles, which is classic. I love those colors as well. Great illustrations here. And we do get some interesting background information here about the cartoon, which we definitely didn't get in the original packaging here. So that's kind of fun to see that. And we also do get a look at everybody else who's in this line, because of course you get all 4 turtles here. Now today we're looking at Leo, but you can get Donatello, you can get Michelangelo, and you can get Raphael. And chances are I will probably get them all eventually, but today I'm just starting with Leo, because I kind of wanted to get a taste and see if I actually liked it. So we're going to go ahead and do the full-on unboxing right now, and we'll take a closer look at this Leo and see if he's worth adding to your collection. And within moments, our Leonardo is out of the package and in hand. And yeah, I needed to take a quick look at this guy for myself, because, man, like I said, this is what I've always wanted as a kid. I am so excited now that I actually can have him join my collection. This is what I have been waiting for right here. So I think the big question is, how does this compare to the originals versus what's being released today? Now, obviously, I don't have the original to compare it to, but I will say, as far as like Playmates, really one of the things you'll notice right away is the plastic quality. And the plastic over the years obviously has changed. Whether that's for better or for worse will depend a lot on your nostalgia and the feel of the toys. I think a lot of folks say the older toys feel better, there's more of a weight to them, and I'd agree with that, yeah, there's definitely a better feeling to those older toys, but chances are that plastic was probably like way worse for the environment. So, you know, we've come a long way since those days, so I think our turtles here are probably made from a more sustainable type of plastic, and that would explain the way the figure feels, because it's a little kind of, not greasy, not slimy, but a little bit slipperier, I feel like, and not like, you know, whoosh, I'm flying my hands off this thing here. It just doesn't quite feel the same type of plastic they used back in the day. I don't really think that's a point of contention or a negative either. It just is what it is. It's just manufacturing in 2023. One thing I do enjoy, of course, is this likeness on our Leo. He is adorable, but it's worth pointing out that all of the turtles share the exact same head. As far as I can tell, it's the exact same head on every single character here. I don't even think the mouths are different on them. And I base that information on the back of the packaging, which shows that. Likewise, I don't even think the bandana is going to be in a different direction. I think it's just basically the exact same turtle across the board. The only difference really is going to be the colors of them. And that would be, of course, not just the colors of the face mask, but the colors of their turtle skin. They're all going to be in different shades of green. I do want to test to see how the articulation is. This is something I've always wondered because I'm just curious, you know, like, do they actually match the same articulation of the 4.5-inch figures? So the head does rotate, and it is a hard head, by the way. I think it's hollow. It's not like a soft rubber head. It is a pretty decent rubber head. Because I can tell it still is rubber because I'm like squishing it and the cheeks do move, but other than that, it's very, very firm, so that's solid. The shoulders move as well. Let's see if the wrists and forearms, the forearms do move. Okay, so that's kind of like the originals as well, the little smaller ones. We still have the wrist rotation. The waist, of course, never moved on the turtles because how would you move that waist? And the legs still move as well, and so do right below the knees. We still have a joint there. So we do have the full range of original Playmates articulation. That makes me very happy. And of course, I should actually check to see if he can stand, which I never worried. The turtles were always like really solid figures. This one, no exception to the rule. Now, as far as accessories go, all the turtles do come with one accessory. And I do quite literally mean one, because our Leonardo here comes with his sword. This is his sword. I really like this. Of course, it's blue, the handle, because of course Leo has to have a blue branded sword. Why not? So we'll just go ahead and slide this into one of his hands, which very easy to get into the hand, stays in place. Our Leo is now armed and ready for action. Now I say he's only got one because that's it. He only has the one weapon here, which is a little confusing. So really, you know, Leo's never had exactly just one sword. He doesn't run around with a single katana. He has always had his two swords, his twin blades, if you will. In this case, we just have the singular sword. And if you look in the back of the packaging again, you'll notice the same thing, that Michelangelo, who should have two nunchucks, only has one. The only character to get both their weapons is Raphael. I don't know what the deal was back in the day. I don't know if the other previous figures did come with both of their weapons, but this Leo only has his sword. I would have loved for a second sword, but it is what it is, I guess. And also worth noting here, there's no handle in the back for the figures to put their weapons either. The original smaller turtles did have a little thing you could slide their weapons into. You know, they had a little thing you could just go like floop, and it would just sit nicely in there. This Leo does not have that. I mean, you could maybe finesse the sword to get in the back of one of these straps here, but it's not really the exact same thing at all. It's quite the opposite. So, you know, really the only thing he can do with this weapon is just hold it in his hand like that. So the big question now is, do I actually like this giant turtle, and is it worth you buying? Well, in my opinion, if you're a turtle fan, I think it's no secret of the ooze, you got to pick this up, because I am enjoying this figure here. Do I wish it had a second sword? Yes, but it is what it is. That was the original release. For every reason it didn't have it, I guess, so we only get one here also. But really, I mean, these guys aren't necessarily for us to play with either, and I know the folks who are going to be buying this are going to primarily be adults like me and you out there. So as far as a display piece, whether you do it in the box or you do it loose like I'm going to have him here, as far as a display piece goes, he's going to look excellent in your shelves, in front of your TV, wherever you're going to set your stuff up. It's going to look awesome. And I think it's worth getting all four as well. These aren't just jumbo-sized versions of those 4-inch figures. These are their own unique sculpts, or I should say, you know, singular. It's its own unique sculpt repainted 4 times, but it does the job. It's still got great, solid detail. You gotta have the classic Ninja Turtle vascularity here. I mean, the shell detail, wonderful as well. Very solid paint job also, no complaints there. You know, the word solid is a good word for this review because this is a pretty solid, heavy-duty piece. I think it's going to look really great in your collection. It's going to stand out nicely, and in my opinion, a lot of collectors don't really take advantage of things like different heights and levels in their displays. This is a great way to do that. Otherwise, you're going to mostly have a bunch of 4-inch figures, and they're all the same height, same scale. Something like this really mixes it up, and that's a lot of fun to have in a collection to make it stand out. So overall, I really can't say enough good things about it, and if you want to pick him up for yourself, he is available from Target. If he's available anywhere else as well, I'm going to have links in my notes below, so take a look at those. Either way, there are going to be places you can still pick him up right now, and you can still find him in stores also. He hasn't been that rare. None of the giant turtles have been that rare to find. So just stay diligent out there. Don't pay eBay prices. Eventually, you're going to be able to land your own giant turtles too. So until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. This is our giant-sized Leonardo. We'll see you guys here next time for more Ninja Turtle reviews and everything else we do here on the channel.